'cause we don't wanna realize that this will never really go our way. And I find a way out. I took a bullet for you, but you're the one behind the trigger. How did we last this long? I never really knew my name, 'cause you're the poison in my veins, I had enough. It's paralyzing from the inside out, from the inside out. You pulled me under from the inside out, from the inside out. I lay your shadow walk all over me, I lay you toxicate me some days, but I got bones so thick they'll never break. Yeah, we ain't got endings to chapters, we'll be happily ever after. All the past is gone. I never really knew my name, 'cause you're the poison in my veins, You told me things are gonna change, but you don't even know my name, I had enough. It's paralyzing from the inside out, from the inside out. You pulled me under from the inside out, from the inside out. It's paralyzing from the inside out, You left me in pieces. Wish you could have seen this, the fire inside. It's paralyzing from the inside out, from the inside out. You pulled me under from the inside out, from the inside out.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jasenia, and we're going to be talking about my PMDD routine. As you see, I have my green tea with a cinnamon stick, and the green tea that I buy is a Trader Joe's green tea decaffeinated, because I don't drink caffeine, maybe once in a rare occasion, but I like this because it's decaffeinated. And I also buy Trader Joe's cinnamon sticks, and I will put one of the cinnamon sticks into the cup with the tea bag before I put the water in it, and I love it. And I use the cinnamon stick at least 2 or 3 times, and how this helps with your menstrual cycle is very helpful. And the reason behind this is the cinnamon stick helps circulates the blood. So I've noticed drinking green tea every night or every day, my blood flow is a lot less. So if you're someone that has a heavy blood flow, definitely start drinking green tea and cinnamon stick. And it's really helpful, and green tea in general just has so many benefits. I'm going to show you other teas that I like to drink during the luteal phase. PMDD is going to trigger into your luteal phase, and your luteal phase usually happens around day 14, 15, 16, around, depending on the type of cycle that you have. If you have 28-day cycle or a 30 to 34-day cycle, which my cycle is more towards a 30 to 34-day cycle, and that is normal. Don't think that's not normal. If that's something that you always have, that's normal. If it's something you don't normally have, if you say you have a 28-day cycle and then it switches into a 34-day cycle, then that's causes for a little concern. But that is normal for my body. And I like to drink different teas during my luteal phase that is going to help promote wellness for me emotionally and mentally and physically, because we all know when we have our premenstrual dysphoric disorder, it's not the grandest time. So these are different things that help combat the beautiful PMDD. So these are different teas that I like. The green tea is the first one that I just talked about. I like the Yogi brand. I like the stress relief tea. It eases tension and promotes relaxation. And the reason for this is because when you're in your luteal phase of the PMDD cycle, your cortisol levels shoot up and your serotonin levels go down. And cortisol is your stress hormone. When you're in your luteal phase experiencing PMDD, you are highly stressed, especially you're even more stressed if you have a stressful lifestyle. So promoting relaxation in your routine and your wellness regimen is a must. The cortisol is the stress hormone and the serotonin is the happy hormone. So you want to get the serotonin up and the cortisol down. So I like that one. I also have Women's Energy Tea. And I've found really good benefits with this, and it has cinnamon bark again in it, orange peel, ginger root, fennel seed, chamomile, dandelion root, anise seed, dong quai root, which dong quai is a Chinese herb, which is really good for your period. Organic stinging nettle leaf, juniper berry, organic peel, stevia leaf, organic black pepper. So I definitely recommend this because I feel the difference between this one. I haven't had the stress relief for too long, but that is that one. And then I have the Women's Moon Cycle tea, which has organic fennel seed, ginger root, cinnamon bark, chamomile flower, raspberry leaf. So the Women's Energy does not have the raspberry leaf in it. The Women's Cycle does. And it has organic anise, dong quai root, the chaste tea berry. I talked about the chaste tea berry extract, which is also known as Vitex or Vitex Angus is the Latin name for it. The chaste berry is supposedly really helpful. I found 2 resources that it helps combat 50% of symptoms with menstrual cycles and PMDD. And that is wonderful. I have never had the chaste tree berry alone, so I think that I definitely will get that for next cycle or the next 2 cycles to test that out. And it has juniper berry and parsley leaf, so that's really cool. And it's called the Women's Moon Cycle to support a healthy cycle. And the Women's Energy is to help balance the female system, and it's 100% natural herbal supplement. So this is really cool and an interesting fact about me, and I would like to know if it's the same for you. When I have my period, I'm normally around the new moon or the full moon cycle, or I'll get it the day of. Last month's cycle, I got my period on the full moon. So my cycles are definitely linked to the moon cycle. So it's really interesting. And I'm really curious if you guys are also in your menstrual cycle or in the luteal phase, because as women, we tend to be in the same cycle. It's more when you're around the person, like when you're around other women, because the hormones are like talking to each other and whatnot. But I'm curious to know if you're watching this, if we're connected in that way. I know that might be weird, but this is what I think about during the day. So this is a really good tea. And then Women's Raspberry Leaf. Raspberry leaf, there's so much research that is known to help with menstrual cycles. So it's literally just organic raspberry leaf. That's the only ingredient in this one, and it supports the female system as well. So those are all the yogi teas that I like to have during my routine with PMDD. And then I also like dandelion root. Now this one's a little harder for me to drink because it's very bitter. Has a bitter taste. Dandelion in general is very bitter. But this is going to, help with your liver. And your liver in TCM is all about the smooth flow of qi and detoxing, and it correlates with the emotion anger. So I've heard dandelion root is really helpful as well for our menstrual cycle. So that's another tea that I have as part of my regimen as well. Also, drinking a ton of water is essential, you know, to get that blood flow moving and regulating your hormones. I like to have a multivitamin. I use Rainbow Light. That is the vitamins that I take, and I take the prenatal ones. I am not pregnant, but this one, when I was reading all the other ones, this one actually had everything that it needed, and it has psyllium, the right amount of psyllium in it that I like. That doesn't necessarily help with PMDD, but just having the right vitamins. So having a multivitamin, which I didn't take mine, so I'm gonna take it right now. And also having B vitamins. This will have all your B vitamins in it, and it also has B12 in it, but I take an extra B12 because I am vegan, and this is 500 mcg. I don't know how you would say that. It's gluten-free, cherry flavor, and this is also vegan. It's a cherry flavor supplement, and yeah, that is, I just put it on my tongue, under my tongue, and whatnot. Another thing that I use during my routine is Natural Calm. This has magnesium in it. A lot of research has shown that you need, you know, magnesium, vitamin D, B vitamins, and calcium has been shown to help support your PMDD, and it's shown to, you know, relieve symptoms. So this is also an anti-stress drink. So we want to, you know, promote a relaxing time and not be so hard on ourselves during PMDD, just in general in our menstrual cycle, to take it easy, or to, you know, meditate more, journal more. Those are all different ways. This is also vegan and non-GMO, and I just, you know, put the recommended scoop in it, and mine is a raspberry lemon flavor, and it's just white. But this is the way I get my magnesium, because in the past, if you take regular magnesium supplements, they tend to make you have to go to the bathroom, unless you buy the Jigsaw brand, which I bought, and that helped too. Another thing that's really helpful, intaking your greens. If you're not, you know, intaking your greens enough, this Raw Organic Perfect Food Energizer Juice Green Superfood from Garden Life is alkalize it detox you, it energizes you. It's vegan, soy-free, and gluten-free, and it's in the flavor of pomegranate, yerba mate. This is really, really good because it gives you all your greens, but it also has spirulina in it, and spirulina herb has been known to help with your menstrual cycle as well, because it's a sea vegetable. Any sea vegetables are going to help with your menstrual cycle. I also take calcium, and this brand has vitamin D3 in it too. Now, essentially, you want to get all your supplements from diet. But if you're not, you know, if this is something new in part of your regimen, get the supplements in until you start like eating, and use the Chronometer app or FitnessPal to track it, that you're not overtaking supplements. And these are just my suggestions from experience and doing research. Definitely do your own research. But this, you know, is very helpful, and you want to get it from food sources as much as possible. But if you can't, I definitely recommend supplementing, so at least you're not lacking those supplements. Another thing that I find helpful during my luteal phase is taking 5-HTP. It supports a calm, relaxed mood. Definitely do your research on this. I've done a lot of research on this, and I take half of it. I will take half of it and put the other half in another container and close it and take it, because I don't want to take a full one. You want to take as low as possible milligrams when you're starting out on taking supplements to see the side effects and how you'll feel. You definitely want to take 5-HTP the night before, not in the daytime or morning time, because it will, you know, give you drowsiness. So take it right before you go to sleep, or an hour before you go to sleep. I don't take this every night, but when I'm more highly stressed and emotional, I'll take it, and I do tend to feel better the next day. And this has no dairy, lactose, no artificial flavors, and non-GMO. So those are all the supplements that I take, and the teas that I drink. This is just part of my routine right now. I definitely want to get that chaseberry. I'm really interested in how that works. But through my research, and I'm going to link down below a paper that I wrote through school, because I'm in school for acupuncture, and I wrote a meta-analysis. I did a lot of like data research of things that have helped, and how PMDD is helped with and gets relief from acupuncture. So definitely I'll link that down below so that you could read on it. It's really interesting. And I'll link down below, I just did a project this week on PMDD as well for my class, my pathophysiology class. And it is a PowerPoint, so I'll link that down below too in a PDF, because it has everything that I just talked about in my video, how to treat PMDD holistically and naturally. So definitely, check that video out as well. I spent a lot of time on it and I worked really, really hard, and there's just a bunch of information on it. So definitely, look that up as well. And I found it really interesting through my research that 80% of women want to have holistic natural treatments. They don't want the Western medications. Although medications does have its purpose and it does help, but personally for me, I like to do it natural, and medications essentially is just masking the problem instead of getting to the root cause. So that is definitely, my opinion and my outlook on it, and I hope that the things that I give you is really helpful for you guys. So I just showed you all my supplements and stuff that I take when I'm in my luteal phase, and most of the time, instead of my multivitamin B12, I'll stop taking the calcium, and I'll stop taking the 5-HTP. You only want the 5-HTP during your luteal phase, and I'll stop taking that once my period arrives. And especially with the essential oils too, like the Endoflex, the clary sage, any essential oils that are used to promote wellness for my female system, I'll stop those too and just use my regular oils, just because you don't want to go in a routine of these things, and it's specifically for my luteal phase. So it's specifically for your luteal phase, and you just want to create that specific routine, and so that you start getting used to the routine as well. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do as well in my routine. I do a basal body temperature and cervical mucus chart. Now, I will be doing different videos specifically on the temperature chart and how to make the chart. So stay tuned for that and subscribe to my channel, because I have a ton of videos that I will be doing on PMDD and menstrual disorders and menstrual cycle in general. On here, it's a little bit disorganized, but I put all the dates throughout the month, and then I have circled here when I got my period. Now, I got my period twice last month because I have been getting acupuncture treatments. It's part of my regimen, and I got my period twice because it is known that in acupuncture you can release old stagnant blood. So one of the students that I go to school with did a treatment on me, and she did it with the hands and the feet are image systems to the body. So here is the red channel and the Chong channel. I'm sorry if you don't, I'm not going to explain what those channels really are. The red is the conceptual channel. It relates to, it goes down here and it relates to your menstrual cycle, and the Chong channel. So they both are channels that run through the menstrual cycle. I'll do a separate video on that too. So she put a needle like this big into my thumb, and she only got halfway, but she put it into my thumb, and 2 days later I got my period. But it wasn't my normal, color and stuff. It was brown, old stagnant blood releasing. So I released old stagnant blood, and it was really cool to experience, because I've gotten a lot of acupuncture treatments in the past for my period, and it's really interesting that I was able to release old stagnant blood, and it was really cool. So I did get my period again. I don't know if that's a normal thing. I have to ask my teacher, but I did get my period again, 3/31, and I'm due for my period in a couple days. So we'll see how it goes like that. And I do have a 30 to 34 day cycle. That is normal. So it's so important to know how many days your cycle runs and start charting. When you start charting and stuff, every woman should be doing this. It's just what we're not taught in school to do. We're just taught about the fundamentals. But it's so important to learn about this so that you educate yourself, educate others, and you learn about the female system. We are females, we should be learning about that. So that is how I'm gonna be doing my new temperature charts. Once my period starts, I'm going to chart it that way. So it starts from 1, 2, 3, 4, so that it starts with a the day 1 of my period, day 2, so that it's more organized, because right now it's not that organized. And then after you do your temperatures, you're gonna put it into a chart. And the chart tells you when you ovulated and when your period begins, essentially. And it also tells you the kind of pattern that your period is in. So this is a sawtooth pattern in the follicular phase. This is what I'm learning in school right now, and it's really cool in my Oriental Medicine Pathology 2 class, and I love it so much. So I'll definitely do videos on these so I can teach you guys how to do your own charts. And on the bottom, like it says on here, these are the charts that I bought. I'll link it down below. It's the same chart, but this one is more clear. I got it from a baby center website. I'm not pregnant, guys. It's just what comes up. Now, this is the traditional way we should be doing this. You don't want to just rely on period apps to tell you when your period is. You want to learn about this, and it's really interesting, and I get really nerdy about it. But that's a little bit about that. I'll definitely do separate videos on that. And let me know if you have any questions down below, and I will let you know about that. But that's really cool information. And as you saw in the previous part of my routine is doing some sort of aerobic exercise like swimming, walking, or yoga. So I did yoga this morning, and I took my temperature and I write it on my chart. I put my my Endoflex oil on my thyroid glands and my thymus, and I put it on my lower abdomen area to help with relief of cramps. And then I put it on my back area where my adrenal glands are, and because your adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys, and on my kidneys to help with adrenal fatigue. I'll link down a video that I just did last week on Endoflex and how it supports the endocrine system, so definitely check that out. It's really awesome. There's a lot of oils that help support and promote the female system. Now, I also journal and I read the Bible. That's something new that's in my regimen, and I just find peace with that, and that's personally for me, and praying, and then journaling whatever it is that's on my mind, and inner child work as well. Inner child work is connecting with your inner child because essentially anyone that has PMDD has childhood trauma or some sort of trauma in their life. Everyone experienced some sort of trauma, and then with this trauma, we suppress it and we stuff it down and we forget about it. So that the inner child work brings to surface the emotions, and it just helps release those emotions because your body is telling you there's something wrong, and the body is telling you that it wants to release these emotions so that we could live a healthy life. And that's a spiritual aspect on it. I'm very spiritual, so I definitely believe in that. Also, having a PMDD journal is essential. This is where you're gonna chart, your charts, or keep your charts together. This is where you're gonna, write how you're feeling throughout the day. And I also have here my menstrual dialogue. So this is my menstrual cycle diagnosis. This is what an acupuncture these are the questions they're gonna ask you. And I will be doing a separate video on that because we're trying to not make the routine video too long. So essentially I will write, during my luteal phase, how I'm feeling and all those questions that I have. As you can see here, I have all these videos that I'm gonna be making in the future, so stay tuned for that. But also, I also write all my research in here too. I write, how I'm feeling, and I write all my research that I do that I learned from PMDD, anything on herbs and stuff, and I put it in my journal. I'm a person that just likes to write things out. I don't like to type things out. I like both, but I like to, write it out, and I'm a very person to see it visually and write it out. And I'm a super nerd, and I really love this stuff, and it's a good way to keep track of your progress and things that you learned. And not everything's gonna work for you, not everything's gonna help you. Different things will help you, and the things that I'm showing you is through my experience has helped me. So it might not work for you, some of them might work for you. It just depends on the individual. So that's what I do for my PMD journal. I bought this in Target. It's a really pretty journal. And then I'm also reading this book. I've read it already, but I'm rereading it again. It's Renewing Your Female Balance. I'll leave the link down below. And she talks about all the herbs that help you with, relieving PMS. And she doesn't talk about PMDD at all, but she talks about endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and dysmenorrhea, and just menstrual disorders, and just PMS in general. She talks about women and PMS, and she talks about the background about how we get PMS and stuff like that. So with the luteal phase, it works with the estrogen and progesterone hormones, and well, it's with the follicular phase and the the follicular phase and the luteal phase. So she just talks about that as well, and she just talks about natural therapies to help relieve your PMS, because it's not natural for us to have PMS. It's not natural. We're supposed to just have our period because of reproductive reasons. But because of our society and the environment that we live in and the food that we eat and the trauma that we hold in our bodies, this is where all these mood swings and imbalance of the body comes in. And that's why acupuncture and all these natural remedies and herbs help bring the body back into a balance. So that is something that I'm really, really into. So you have to remember that too, that it's not natural for us to have PMS. It's not natural for us to have PMDD and menstrual disorders. Our body is telling us there's something wrong. Our body's letting us know that we're out of balance and we need to get back into balance. Now with PMDD, we are high in stress with cortisol, and that's stress. So yeah, the stress hormone. And when you're living a very high stress life, I go to work, I go to school, I tend to get stressed out really, really quickly, especially when you have PMDD. In the luteal phase, you will get overwhelmed super fast and super quickly. That's usually how you feel. You feel overwhelmed and you're just like, no, I don't want any of this. And you isolate yourself and you're like, bye, see ya when my period comes, because that's usually when you start feeling better. It's natural for us, but there are traditional and natural ways to help this. Again, 80% of women want natural therapy and natural ways to help themselves. We normally don't want to take medication and stuff. Another routine that I do is I use period apps. So you have Period Tracker, you have Eve, that's another app. There's a ton of apps, but I got rid of Period Tracker because it wasn't tracking my period right, and I have the app Eve. So I'll show you here. This is the app Eve. I don't know if you can see it, but it's red and it says Eve on it. I click it and it's already asking me, did I start my period yet? And I'm going to hit no because I didn't get it yet. And it says, ask me in 1 day, 5 days. So I just said 1 day. I'm supposed to get my period in 3 days. So that's how it's calculating. Usually this is pretty accurate. It's like 1 day off or not. So in 3 days, I'm supposed to get my period. It's April 30th, so April 33rd, I would get my period. So today is April 30th, and I'm on 31 days since my last period. So mine ranges between 30 to 34 days. I'll probably get it tomorrow. That's tonight or tomorrow. That's what I'm feeling based on like my symptoms. But here it will, in red, that's where your period is, and then in the green is when you are supposed to ovulate and, when you're most fertile. Now, usually on a normal 28-day cycle, you're supposed to ovulate on day 14. That won't always be the case. Like for me, I might not ovulate on day 14 because my cycle is longer. And then highlighted in pink, that's when I'm supposed to get my period. It, calculates around the time that you're supposed to get your period. And then it'll just show like a calendar here of your period. But this app is really great too because you can, also complete a day's log, and it'll ask you, did you get some? How are you feeling? Sex drive status, the symptoms you're experiencing, and then when you have your period, how heavy is your flow? Did you have discharge? Exercise? Does it smell? And did you indulge? So those are different, ways that you can add in your log, and I like to do both, because it keeps track on both. And there's so much like information on here, like cycle scope, community poll, like it's period talk, like there's all different things on here. And I actually found the cycle diet. I found this woman and I found it on here because somebody recommended it, and it's a cycle diet for PMDD. And it's by this woman who created it, and she's a dietitian, and I spoke with her about dietary stuff with PMDD as well. So that's really cool because you could get like really informative things from that app. And then another app that I have is Me versus PMDD. It's also another symptom tracker, and it's just logging me in, and it says, "Ciao, Jasenia, how are you feeling?" So you put in how you're feeling. It's, you know, it's a journal. If you don't like to, you know, write, it's a journal where you could type on your phone. So that is a thing. And then it has your data, self-love journal, symptom tracker, treatment tracker, resources, peer support, and report a bug. So that app is really cool too. I'll do a separate video of like going through all the apps as well. But those are the two apps that I have for my menstrual cycle. This is the cycle diet that I was just talking about that I found through that app. I'll link the website down below, and this is the workbook, and it's by Deborah Hope Redizzel. And again, when you could buy a combination, I bought this, it's a gluten-free version, and I got this in January, and I got this combination with having a session with her for as a dietitian. And then it goes in what is PMS, what is, you know, PMDD, and it's in the DSM-5. I know I made a mistake and said in the DSM-R in my video of traditional and holistic ways of PMDD. My bad. I meant the DSM-5. That's the mental disorder book. So please don't judge me that I got that wrong. But it talks about premenopausal, the female reproductive system, how to chart your cycle, probable cause of PMS, symptom trackers, worksheets, depression and carbohydrate cravings, good, bad, foods to include, foods to avoid, and the cycle diet base plan, cycle diet menus. And she does the foods to eat during your follicular phase and foods to eat during your luteal phase. And she also has a weight loss plan in there, and recipes and weekly diet journals. So that's really cool because it's a physical reading, and she, you know, puts it in a binder for you and everything. I didn't put it in a binder. This is how it came. So this was really awesome, and I was really excited to find this and speak with her because she also talks how the thyroid can affect our menstrual cycle as well. An example of a gluten-free plan. It has a dinner follicular phase, and it has meat in it too. I just don't obviously make the meat ones. And your follicular phase is usually by day 1 and through 14. And then your luteal phase days is 15 to 28. So those are different things. And she'll tell you also, like it says 1 gluten-free multivitamin, 1 gluten-free multivitamin, and then in the other ones, she'll say, you know, drink water and herbal tea, and she'll just remind you to take your vitamins and stuff, which is really cool. And it's just really simple, easy recipes and dairy-free recipes, and then on the back it's a weekly journal. So I definitely should encourage you to get this and suggest the website and, you know, getting this binder, because this is essentially your lifestyle, and it's just learning about the female system and learning different things and incorporating all these things. So this is part of my PMDD routine. This is what I do. I do a lot of research too. A lot of research helps me feel better and that I'm normal, and it just makes you learn more about yourself and more about the female system. As you saw, I did my, Endoflex oil on my thyroid glands. I put it on my lower abdomen by my ovaries, my kidneys, and my adrenals. And then my clary sage I like to put on my arms. So that's a really good way. Clary sage is really good for supporting the female system. And then later on in the day, I'll put other oils on, and I like to use basil, rosemary, bergamot, sclerescens from Young Living, my Endoflex from Young Living. They're both vitality oils. Peppermint, lavender, pomarosa. These are all oils that I use during my menstrual cycle and, well, during my luteal phase. And they really, really help support my emotional and my mentality. And I like to, rub it behind my neck and my shoulders, and I like to put it on my chakras, my different chakras, and I like to say different mantras when you saw earlier in the video. And it's just really great to connect with yourself. And I like to do breathing technique with yoga, and I like to do meditation. These are all things that I incorporate in during my luteal phase, and I incorporate a lot of these things during my daily life as well, like the meditation and the yoga or exercise. Definitely, you know, encourage you to do that. And then with the essential oils, in acupuncture, we have the upper Buddha and we have the lower Buddha on our foot, and the ear Buddha in our ear. And those are, the Buddhas are all things to help calm the Shen. Our aura and what we look like is our Shen if we're happy and sad. So it's lung 9, heart 7, and PC 6. Those are the 3 points on the wrist. And I like to put the essential oil in a triangle so that it goes into those acupressure points or acupuncture points. And you could also press them too for like, you know, 30 seconds if you're not an acupuncturist. And then the same thing with the ear, it's parasympathetic, Shen Men, and the 0.0. And then on the foot, I'll see if I can show you guys. It is gonna be spleen 6, which is right around here, kidney 3, which is right around here, and then liver 4, which is right there. And I just go again in a triangle. You don't have to be like specific with the oil, and just rub it in there. And having the intention is everything. So these are ear seeds, and if you don't like needles, if you're afraid of them, you can get ear seeds. And this is like my little probing tool, and you know, pick it off so you don't really get the germs on the ear seeds. This is what it looks like. And then you put them in your ear, and I'll show you how to do that too. Or these are the needles that I use. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to do this if you're not an acupuncturist or in school for acupuncture, but I'll show you that as well. How I put the needles in. It's a very tiny needle. I have my guide tube, and to put it in order of parasympathetic, Shen Men, kidney, liver, and lung. And you want to put it in that order because that's how easy it is to get it. So that's where that one's gonna go. And Shen Men is like a fisheye. So here, ow, it hurts a little bit today. I'm extra sensitive because I'm getting my period. And kidney is right under Shen Men. Right there, just like right here. Lung, which is like right in the center. So you put that in. But again, you can do acupressure on these points. So I'm gonna show you in the other ear how to put these in. Little, but don't touch the bottom. So in the other ear, we're doing the other ear. So you kind of typically wanna raise it up a little and then put this underneath it. And there's that little bead. And then we're going to press it into the parasympathetic. So you kind of want to get it in there. And these you could leave on until like they come off. And then you press onto the bead to stimulate the point. So again, there's the Shen Men. And go underneath for kidney. My kidney is tender. Because I'm doing it myself. Liver's like right at the edge here, and then lung. This one's a little harder because it's deeper. Right in there. So that's what your ear is gonna look like. Hopefully I have a good view of where I placed all my seeds, and you want to press them down really, really good so that they don't come out. And then these are my needles. Isn't that cool? So there you go. If you have any questions, definitely link it down below and let me know any questions that you have. Comment down below if this is something that you struggle through, or if any of the information that I give has been helpful for you. I want to connect with you guys, and I want to empower, you know, women, and know that we can help ourselves and we can heal and change. And essentially, not that I have a problem with Western medicine or any of these things, they essentially try to put you in a box. And I don't like that. We're not a box. We're all different and we all have different things going on. And it definitely, the emotional component has a connection with it. And especially as women, we're just naturally intuitive and usually connected to our body. And that's just how we work because we're made to be nurturers because we, give birth and stuff like that, if that's what you choose. Men are totally different and just work on the different sides of the brain. So the PMDD is here to teach you. Know that it's here to teach you. Know that it's here to help you and, work on having a positive outlook on it. I would say this year is really when I had started becoming more positive and now seeing that it's here to help me and it's here to help other people. And especially because I'm an acupuncturist, most of the people I see are women. I mean, I see men too, but every woman, has a menstrual cycle or has had a menstrual cycle, and having this information is super important and informative to have. Transmute the negativity into positivity. Do your work. You have to do it's definitely an internal thing, and connecting with your inner self, and you have to do the work and you have to work through it. It can be very painful, going through this stuff, but once you release it and once you, work towards that, you'll start to feel really better, a lot better. And you want to love it. Start to love it and love all of it and know that it's part of you. And then when you start to, do that, you don't really attach to that energy that it's bad, and you want to know that it's not a bad thing, it's not your fault, and you're a good person and you're lovable, and this is just the body is just telling you something is wrong. So definitely, be gentle with yourself. That can be a hard task when you're in the luteal phase, but do these things, do these kind of holistic alternative ways, and to help subside your symptoms. But remember, the outer, you can only change so much in the outer, and you need to go deep, dive deep, and do the inner work. Put yourself in a box. Know that you're a flower. See yourself as a flower, and you're growing, and you're planting your seeds, and you're just growing your plant, and you're a flower. This is your body. You have a spirit and you have a soul, and your soul is screaming out to you, hey, pay attention to me and help me, and let's release these emotions and let's release this pain. Remember, your soul and your spirit, we all have a soul and we're all interconnected, and this is how it works. And it's definitely there's a link between the body and the mind. The body and the mind, there's a link, and it's speaking to you. In the past, I was, highly depressed and excessively sleeping and going through all these mood symptoms and all this destructible, self-destructing, things. And it's really not a good place that you don't want to be this way. And I essentially, I'm the type of person, I like to always better myself, and I want to be able to be there for other people that don't have the resources. And as well, you need to start learning how you work. And usually people don't notice it unless you talk about it. And you want the people around you to really hear you, because there's a lot of people that don't really hear you. Even if you explain it to them what it is, they're not really hearing you, and I'm hearing you, and I'm here for your support and to help you and to help guide you in this journey. And I'm on a journey, and we're on a journey together. I think also that women are so programmed to take care of other people that we neglect ourselves and we don't nourish ourselves. And it's really important to give ourselves self-care and to nourish ourselves, because it's just super important. Everybody should be, giving themselves self-care. Really, with my situation, I just got, to a point that I just don't want to feel this way. And then it took like a couple cycles, like this year. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to feel this way anymore. And I finally, put all this stuff that I know, that I've researched into, knowledge, and now it's more manageable for me. And these, things are from my experience, and this is why I want to share it with you guys. So other than that, to conclude this video, I'm gonna end it there, and I'll see you guys in my next video, and I hope this was really helpful for you, and I'll see you guys soon. Namaste. The light in me honors the light in you. Also, the song that you heard in the beginning is by this girl Kelly that I found on YouTube. It's called Inside Out. I will link it down below. You could go purchase it on iTunes, go support her. It's awesome, and I'll link down her YouTube down below as well. I thought the song goes really well with PMDD. It's about toxic relationships and friendships, but I thought it goes well with your relationship with PMDD and it being in a negative aspect. So I thought it was a really creative, fun, upbeat song, and I just thought it was vibing with the mood. Alright guys, peace!